Welcome to another episode of Ruff Talk VR, a weekly podcast with in-depth game reviews, exclusive developer interviews, and the latest MetaQuest and virtual reality news. We join our hosts, the father-son team of D. Scruffles and Stratus today, as they spend another episode breaking down and discussing the world of virtual reality.
Hey, welcome to this episode of Ruff Talk VR, coming at you with the extremely rare remote episode, but we did tease this last week. We're actually getting ready to go to Gamescom physically right now, but when this episode drops, will we be on a plane or will we be landed? It'll be 3 a.m. on Monday. I think we'll be in air still.
If you go by Eastern time, we'll be in the air when this drops.
So look at that.
Yeah.
This is when
and
this
if you're
episode
waking up in Europe, it'll be already there waiting for you.
Well, some of our listeners like Inferno, they listen, first thing in the morning, pretty early, just due to work and stuff. So they'll be catching this while
his work schedule is not 9 to 5.
No, more like 5 to 9.
Right? Yeah. I'm thinking
something like that. But for people like him, we're still in the air. Hopefully, we landed properly. Hopefully, there's another episode.
Oh, this could be the last episode.
Yeah, that's going to be a real ominous episode.
That's great, man.
This might be a real ominous episode, knowing this dropped at 3 a.m., literally as the plane is nosediving or something like that. Like, wow, dude, the episode dropped at 3. The plane nosedived at 3:01.
I don't think we're flying Boeing, so I think we're all set.
So anyway, we're coming at you with a themed episode today. I didn't mean to cut off your humor because we're having quite a bit of fun.
Well, I get weird when we do remote anyway, so
yeah, we get a bit silly. Well, you have the famed remote Stratus tapestry in the back of you.
That's right.
I have our standard, Ruff Talk VR studio, the current version, whatever XX7YZ that we're on, but soon another upgrade coming soon. But we had talked about doing a themed episode for our absence since we're not physically able to record on Sunday like we usually do. So we're coming at you with a themed kind of road through 2024 so far, like kind of a roundup of our favorite games of 2024 thus far. And maybe we'll even sprinkle in a little bonus at the end of some upcoming games that we're hyped for as well. So we each came prepared with a list.
Yeah, you know what I did though? Because I didn't know how deep we wanted to go. So I think you broke yours out with App Lab too, right?
Yeah. Oh, not. I broke it down to the ones that were App Lab games previously that came to the official store. That's what I
separated so
as
it counted as a. So that would count as a 24 then.
Correct. Like Ghost of Tabor and those ones. Those were on App Lab in 2023. And then, well, that should be obvious. Hey,
yeah. No. I could count that. I also did a only because I want to see on paper what it looks like, but games that we still continue to play to this day.
Like I didn't do one of those, but I'll say one right off the top of my head. Walkabout Mini Golf is an obvious one. That one's timeless with their DLCs. So when it comes time for
I'll put you on the spot with that one, but I definitely got some for because the list was actually pretty good. I'm like, that's not bad for still playing those games plus playing all the other games.
Yeah, we each came with our own list, and we'll kind of bounce back and forth. As you can hear, obviously, we each came with our own formats. I broke mine into games that were released this year that weren't previously on App Lab or anything like that, with one little exception that I'll explain when it's time. And then I included an App Lab graduates section, and then an honorable mentions. It's not like, maybe I wouldn't say that each one of these is a must-buy for every single gamer, regardless of what your favorite genre is, but they're just games that I loved. I really had a good time with them in 2024. And then, of course, the upcoming games list. How did you break yours down? Just games that came out and then games that are kind of timeless still?
Yeah, I did new, games that came out in 24. And because of that whole App Lab situation kind of merging itself anyways, I didn't take the liberties of being like, oh, it was App Lab. But if it was on the store in 24, I counted it as 24. And then, of course, I have games I'm excited to see in the future, as well as games that we continue to play regardless of their age.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny, I have like 20 apps, maybe a little bit more, 25, but I won't be able to read that many apps because what we're going to do is there's no doubt we have some overlap in our list. We didn't run our lists by each other ahead of time either. So when one of us says an app, We'll cross it out on each other's list. Might break both of our lists about in half, just because we're probably going to be reading the same list in just different formats. But we'll go one at a time.
It's going to be close, I think. I think we'll have. I know my first one, I think, will be one that you may or may not have on yours, and vice versa.
Okay, so why don't you take the lead with it? What's your first honorable, or what's your first, favorite
one
game
I've had fun with in 24?
Yeah, so far.
I've really been, well, there's a lot, dude.
Our favorite games, our favorite VR games.
There's like 30 games on here, man.
Favorite VR games that have come out in 2024 is what this episode, because I was kind of
Warplanes Air Core.
Ooh, that was not on my list.
Yep. I'm really, really, really having fun with it.
That's awesome.
And you know me with flying,
you're a fan of that series too.
Yeah.
All flying games, actually.
Yep. Every single one of them. Ultra Wings 2. This one, I just picked up the PC VR.
And I'm sure the best of them has yet to come, I'm sure. So,
hell yeah.
Man, have you tried if our PCs can handle Microsoft Flight Sim yet?
No, I have not.
And VR?
I don't want to spend $60 to find out I can't.
That's a good one to start the list, because that's one that
I want to start
have.
with something that I figured you might not have.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, you've always been a fan of Warplane, so that was a good one to come out. Man, they shadow dropped their games too. This one, when it came out this year, I didn't hear any lead up to it. It just all of a sudden Warplanes was out, so that's a good one to kick off the list. You know what? I made a list, but it's not in any order, so let's see how I want to start. I think it's going to be, I'll start with a banger, in my opinion. It is one of the cutest games in VR I think I've ever played, and as soon as I heard it was coming out, I was like, not another roguelite. And then I hopped in and I loved it right from the start. Atmosphere, gameplay, story, everything. I'm talking about Crumbling. It is like a isometric, you grab this cute little action figurine, you move it around to do combat, and you go through this like roguelite sequence, but or levels, with a nice cute little story attached and upgrades and different characters to unlock. Really, really solid game that I think kind of floated under a lot of people's radar. I had a lot of fun with Crumbling.
Yeah, dude, I went back in it a couple weeks ago, and I think
good graphics too.
I think they had a new chapter for the comic book.
Well, that was one of the things, is like you do hit a wall with the story at some point, but they allude that more stuff was coming.
It's honestly, I mean, I love the game, but I feel it fell under the radar a little. But let's be honest, the original content, it's like, it was exciting to play, so we kind of blew through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of wanted more figures and more pages of a story. And
it's unfortunate that they didn't figure out a gameplay loop that didn't need the story, because the story was so good. I don't know if maybe if it
goes
didn't
hand to hand, man.
Yeah, it's like the way it's created. There's not like a randomly generated level feature or anything like that ends and that makes endless replayability or anything. So you definitely hit a wall with it. But for what it offers, I had a blast with it. One of my favorites of the entire genre, for sure.
Yep. And I did have that one as well. And I do believe they're still going to release little updates for it and such, or I would hope so.
And can I add to that? I'm going to start with naming all of my games that are in the released this year, but weren't on App Lab section. That's how I'll start my list. And once I'm done through all those, then I'll go to honorable mentions, then App Lab graduates.
Yes, sir. All right. Everyone's favorite. I know you loved it. I loved it. Tropico.
Ooh, that one was on my list for sure.
Yeah. Tropico was, I mean, dude, loved every single Tropico game that has come out flat screen. That is one for sure I can see in my Steam account I do own.
Technically titled Tropico on the MetaQuest.
Yes, Tropico on the MetaQuest, not Tropico flat screen.
Not Tropico VR, even though Tropico VR just,
Nope. Tropico
has such a simple flow to it. Yep.
But, let's be honest, it was great for people like you and I who love that style of game, and we happen to love the franchise already. It was an easy sell. So
we were able
I really enjoyed it.
Since it was a 1-to-1 port with Tropico 4, we were able to just go in and not even really need to do any teaching besides, the VR mechanics, which are so intuitive for anybody that's played VR previously, that, we just went in and just instantly started building empires, and You were going through the campaign. I was having a blast with Sandbox. That's a El Presidente, man. That's such a good one. So
El Presidente.
I swear to you too, that was next on my list to say. So you really,
I'm sorry. Yeah,
no,
these
I love
lists
that.
are going to be brutal.
That's probably going to happen to each of us a couple times on this. So I'll hit one that I don't think it'll be so early on your list, but I might be surprised. I'd laugh if it was your next one. This is definitely
I'm not going in order.
Oh, I'm not either. I'm just kind of
picking off the
Yep. But maybe you're thinking right now that this will be your next one. So, but I don't think that's the case. I think that this one will be on your list, but later in your mind. I'm talking Medieval Dynasty New Settlement. Definitely one of my favorite releases this year. A VR adaptation of a flat screen game, Medieval Dynasty, that you came to my house when we first started the podcast. And we're like, dude, I just got this new game on Xbox. It's in early access. It's so fun. I'm hooked, and I think it would be amazing in VR. Fast forward 2 years, and Medieval Dynasty New Settlement, again, a VR spinoff comes out, and I didn't play the flat screen game like you did, so I can't have the same expectation. But from everything you told me, my mental expectation of the image, the visual that of what you described to me, it lived up to all the expectation. I've had such a fun with
better,
it,
dude. They just did their enhancement, so
crazy. They've added more content, a whole bunch of quality of life fixes. They really listen to their community in their Discord as well too. So great studio. I really hope co-ops come soon because I can see us spending even more time just in Sandbox playing co-op together. So I'm so excited for that. But even in its current state, Medieval Dynasty New Settlement is undeniably one of my favorite releases this year.
Yeah, it still holds up. So
yeah, only getting better too.
Exactly. I was just gonna say, like, no, and they're far from done. All right, ready? Here's a cool one: Toy Trains.
Ooh,
one that I was hyped for during development. Was all over it when it came out. Or actually, I think we had it pre-release, and I still noodle with it today.
It's solid,
even though it wasn't the game I thought it was going to be.
Well, didn't they later?
It was going to be something
I'm pretty sure
different, but
they later added the sandbox. They later added the sandbox, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
I know what you're saying.
It was going to be something
not mission based.
I'm not upset with what they gave, so it's like kudos to them because I still like it. Cute title, easy to learn, very challenging later on down the road.
That was from the former devs of Super Hot. Not the same studio. It's like developers that made Super Hot left and made this. Totally different game, but they crushed it with this one. That's another one that's continued to get some updates as well, too. So let's see what else comes out of that studio. But right out the gate, Toy Trains is looking good. And dude, did you see that Soul Assembly announced their next game today on the day of recording?
Yeah, not on Sunday.
No, but like it's going to be old news, I guess, by the time where this episode's dropping. But did you see that? Their new shooter game coming out? Oh, that looks good. I'll pull up the name in a moment during one of the times that you're listing one of your games. But yeah, just so I can give them the proper dues. But there was a bunch of news that came out today. Some release dates for some upcoming games. So I'll slip those in at some point too. But yeah, great title right there, Toy Trains. So my next one, I'll go with, you know what? I'll do a little bit more of a sleeper one. I was going to do a bigger name one, but this is another one that I feel definitely slipped under the radar. I'm going to go with Neon Squad Tactics. That's a kind of like trippy. You know what? Demio on acid is definitely the best way for me to describe it.
And about summarizes it.
It's pretty much that same gameplay style of Demio of, picking and moving, pieces across the board. But instead of it being kind of a dungeon crawl, it's more of a mission-based game. Of course, the mission is just kill all the enemies on the game board. But there's different classes. You can play with friends. It's a lot of fun. I had a good time with Neon Squad Tactics.
Admittingly, that one slipped my list.
Yeah. Do you know what? Toy Train slipped mine. I'll admit it. And as soon as you said it, I went, what? How did I miss that one? Because that one's so cute and so good.
Yeah, it's a good one.
that's what's good about there being two of us with this, because there might be a couple other like really good ones that when each of us hear, we go, oh, how did I miss that? So we both had fun with Neon Squad Tactics too. I remember us putting some time in the co-op there. So that's another sleeper.
Hate when I forget something or leave something out, you know? It's like, oh man. All right.
Well, hey, we caught each other one and one back to back, because Toy Trains was your last one before, right? So we're just throwing them at each other like that.
All right. I was going to go one direction. Now I'll go a different. And I will go with one that I think they pulled off very well. The mechanics work. I mean, it was a little bit of getting used to. I'll admit it, but it's well worth it. But Miracle Pool.
Ooh, that was on my list.
Oh, okay.
That was one that I think that you have loved since the second you went in.
It gives you everything, you know, for learning. They'll let you do the angle cheat,
and it's the Black Hole Pool devs. The
only beef I have is that if you're playing somebody, you don't know if they're cheating or not by having the little guide arrow on, because it doesn't like tell you like, hey, your opponent is not doing no assist mode with the showing you the angle the ball's going.
I wonder if they fixed that since then. Because if you're going to run like competitive leagues and stuff like that in this game.
Dude, let's be honest. You're going to do a lot better if you know where it's going than if you're left up to your own, you know.
Although I was going to say, you were playing pretty good even with it off.
Yeah. And that's what sucks, is because you don't really know if someone would believe you, you know, like, oh, that shot had to be helped. It's like, no, maybe I'm just getting better. But still, hands down, as far as if one wants to call it a sport game, probably one of my favorite sport games of 2024.
No doubt. I'm having a blast with that one. And honestly, besides sport game, when we make our categories for 2024, you know, this year at the end of the year, when we talk mixed reality games of the year, this is no doubt a nominee. I mean, it really highlights everything great about mixed reality.
There's some good ones for that category this year.
Yeah. Remember
because there was no category like 2 years ago.
And last year it was game modes that were winning it. Last year, of course, a great one won it with Aspire 2's mixed reality game mode, which still holds up as one of the best mixed reality experiences in VR. And, you know, there was other great ones like Drop Dead the Cabins, Home Invasion, mixed reality game mode that was unbelievable as well.
Was it Iron Guard?
Well, I love that little demo. I wonder if that's improved, man. The when they had their tower defense mixed reality one, that one was good too.
That was wicked hard.
And speaking of Drop Dead the Cabin, that's from Soul Assembly, and I mentioned that they announced a new game today of recording, but today is Wednesday for full disclosure. So this is coming out on Monday, so almost a whole week later. But we just, you know, want to make sure you get some content. But they announced their next game, Last Stand, which is coming winter 2024, and it's described as a mixed reality PvP shootout game. Multi-location mixed reality PvP shootout, which makes me think, because we played Spatial Ops in Sweden at Resolution Games office, that makes me think that, you know, Spatial Ops now has competition. Because when we played Spatial Ops, I was like, they're the only game like this. But that's exactly what this sounds like too, right? Multi-location, mixed reality PvP shooter. That's how I would describe Spatial Ops, right? So now we're getting two games in that genre.
That would have been a good combo for coming soon.
Yeah. Well, out of nowhere, well, you know, that one just came out, or like it got announced today. So, you know,
fresh off the 72-hour.
It wasn't on my list. It wasn't on my list when my list was already made. What do you want me to do? You know, I should have added it
happening
before.
As the words are going out. No, I get it.
I mean, in all honesty, who knows what comes out? That's the dangerous thing about doing this episode today, and like why we're not even talking news, because like we don't know what else is. We might not be talking about the biggest news that came out because it came out on Friday. You know. So anyway, who took the last one?
Ooh, that's a good question.
What was the last one you said?
Oh no, dude.
I said Medieval Dynasty.
Oh, I said Miracle Pool. Yeah, so I went last.
Oh no, I didn't. I said Neon Squad Tactics. I'm sorry, but you did. Yeah. It was you with Miracle Pool, yeah. All right, so it goes to me next. You know, there's a couple on here that I know are going to be on your list, so I'm going to try to hit some more ones that maybe slipped your mind. How about Townsman VR, a great top-down strategy game. It was technically the first ever Quest 3 exclusive for the Quest library. Disclaimer: it was already out on the PC VR, but by Quest 3 exclusive, I mean, wasn't available on the Quest 2. And I had a blast with it. Awesome story, great building mechanics. I never wanted to move on from each level. I spent way too much time in each level making my island.
Especially when you learn what to do, you start dragging ass, you know?
Yeah, so I definitely prolonged.
Bleed it out. Yeah. It is on my list.
Okay, that's a good one. I had a lot of fun with it. THQ, I think, was involved in that as well, too. So kind of a big name. THQ is an OG for my childhood of gaming.
From when I was a teenager.
It's
THQ always was a good name.
And they really hit a low point at one point, but now seem to be making a resurgence as THQ Nordic. It's like, I almost wonder if just the European wing survived. Like everything else got sold off, and there's just this little
Vikings
ember that is now burning again. So good for them. So yeah, Townsman VR had a blast with that one for sure.
Okay. I don't think either one will disagree with anything that comes out of our pie hole at the moment. So one that I will continue to play, like I play all the ones in this type of genre, but Drums Rock.
Yeah,
I'm still having a blast with. So
you're a sucker for both a good rhythm game and a good rhythm drumming game too.
Yeah, dude, I own too many rhythm games. Because I'll complain about it, right? But yet I'll get one as soon as I can.
Not only get one, get a DLC pack too. Sucker for a good DLC pack, especially from or Smash Drums. But Drums Rock is coming up.
Unplugged. They got me for money. Beat Saber, they've gotten me for a fortune.
Yeah. You're a sucker for a good rhythm game, but you mentioned Unplugged. That's probably one of my favorites. Drums Rock was definitely not on my list, not because it's a bad game, just because, I tend to not gravitate as much to rhythm games as you.
That's fair.
But that's a good one. That's a very good one.
Yep.
So I'll go with another one that I had a blast with this year. Max Mustard. Max Mustard. That funky mustard. Had such a blast with it. So cute. Still go into it. Still play it. They nailed it with classic top-down platformer elements. The cute shop with the actually giving you incentive to hunt for all of the coins. Just they did a great job.
Yeah, man. For nostalgic feel, it's fun.
Totally different than Richie's playing too.
You think?
Like, complete 180.
Like not even the same. No way, man.
They also started a fire this year with Max Mustard with their 90% off discount. They started a fire, but it wasn't even intentional. It wasn't
really their fault. It wasn't.
They never advertised it. They just slipped it in one of their games.
It was a little Easter egg.
Good old Shoes. He's the only person I can think of that would decide to stick their head into through an elevator wall in VR to be like, maybe there's a code in there, and there was for 90% off. They hit number one on the top selling store with it. Gave everybody the caution, like, hey, be careful with doing this. It might not even be worth it on return for you. Don't just go dropping your game to 90%. People did not listen to that. Everybody just started dropping their game to 90%. Not everybody, a bunch of developers, and just really started this like temporary wave of discounts, but totally not their fault. Like I said, they just put a little Easter egg in one of their games. Somebody found it, Shoes, just to give credit where credit's due. And I mean, it really caused a promotional ripple effect in the VR industry for about a month. So they also get a little marketing campaign of the year nomination too, if you ask me. Unintentionally.
Yeah, well, because they were the first, so
correct.
Everything after that, it gets a little gray. But
they hit number one on the top selling. Not nearly every game that did it after them did. And in fact, the results got worse as it went. But I'll let you take the next one.
Yeah. I mean, the only people that were impacted to it were the
developers. Yeah, the consumers not complaining.
The consumers were searching
it's like, give me them 90%.
Give me the 99-cent game, man. All right. So one that we had fun with leading up to it, and it's just still fun as hell to me, but Contractor Showdown.
Oh, yeah. That was on my list.
Of course. Okay.
That was one
that was a no-brainer.
If I wanted to steal one from you at any point, I would. That's because we've had such a good time with it.
Max Mustard was the one that was coming out. Had you not mentioned it when you did, but no, Contractor Showdown since the weekend play that we'd get to do.
when we would talk marketing strategies of the year as well too, that was a really good one for a competitive team-based shooter game or squad-based shooter, I should say, to give it free on the weekends. Dude, they went into a major city and dumped crack cocaine from the skies for 2 days every week and then would fly away and be like, see you again on Saturday and Sunday. In 2 months, we're going to sell this. So you better believe when they opened up their store, there were lines. Like, it was a really good marketing campaign. It got everybody being like, this is a good game. I want to play it more. It keeps going away from me on weekends. So you never could play it enough to get sick of it or like be like, yeah, you know what? I played it out. And so they just crushed it with day one launch. I mean, that was a really good campaign they did in the lead up.
Yeah.
It's just a good game. Only gets better too. They got vehicles now. Contractor Showdown. That was a good one. How about this one? Silent Slayer, Vault of the Vampire. In fairness, former sponsor of the podcast, but we were hyping it up long before then anyway.
When we saw it at PAX, we were loving it, you know?
Yeah.
You got to play it. So.
Yeah. Only you could have, you not the biggest fan of the public.
No, but I got early access by the time we got home.
What are you gonna do for Gamescom? You gonna use the headsets?
Gonna fucking suck it up, I guess.
I just thought of this. I didn't think of this at any point yet.
Yeah.
Have you put thought in this, or is this kind of just
I
hitting
put
you
thought
now?
into it.
Because anybody that doesn't know this, you're not long time vocal not advocate of public VR headsets. Shell Games did impress me though.
When I went to Sweden, I mean, it's not like we went to Resolution Games and I was like, no.
That's a good point.
I need to see one come out of the box, please. So you know,
put this on my headset.
Yeah, exactly. Can you just load that in? You can delete it on the way out the door. It's somewhere comfortable. And not for nothing, you know, we did sweat up their headsets.
I feel terrible. It's somebody else is, you know, going to use that headset, even if it's just somebody in the office. And I know I violated that headset. That headset is never the same. Unless you rip somebody, they need to rip that head strap off of it, that face strap, and just kick it. Like throw it in the air and punt it.
Not just burn it.
Yeah.
Put in a warranty.
Have like a Swedish celebration. Some June fire or something.
some coffee, cinnamon buns, and torching a quest.
Why is the smoke green?
No, I'm just gonna suck it up for Gamescom.
That makes sense.
I'm gonna say no if someone's like, "Hey, do you want to try it?" And we're like, "No." There's only 500,000 other people who would, but not me.
You walk up to me and go, "Hey, you want to play Silent North?" You think that, you know?
Nah,
it's gonna take some shit for me to say no. I mean, there better be like
I'll be able to play it when it comes out.
Yeah, get out of here.
That'll be my shtick the whole week.
And we don't even know.
No.
What we're seeing yet.
I don't even want to look at it. I don't want to see any footage of anything. I like to go in fresh.
Dude, I'm
going to be like looking over shoulders where people like, holy shit.
We've done PAX, but this is going to be like our first like massive super center convention.
Yeah, it's like, I think 300,000 square feet bigger than Boston.
And it seems like there's a lot of business to business stuff too. It seems a little less consumery. Like it's more for the VR or not VR. Well, yeah. And the XR,
I think
home of XR booth,
bro.
But for the gaming industry side, more than like a convention like PAX, that's 100% consumer focused.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for this. Ooh, this is going to be fun. I cannot wait to come home and talk about all the stuff that we're able to talk about. And then I'm not looking forward to...
I hope that consists of like stuff we see at the mega booth, right? And then nothing else we saw is like, you know, like in the whole convention, like you guys can't talk about nothing. It's like, nope.
Just a pile.
I got NDAs this thick. Looks like War and Peace.
I can't even fly home. I'm passing my flying weight because of the fucking NDA printouts.
I gotta have them shipped.
Let's be real. I always say, is it really a party though without an NDA or two? Is it really a good time without a couple NDAs?
No, I just assume everything. There's so many that I just assume everything is.
Yeah, so what I was going to say, like, I'm looking forward to talking about what we can, and I'm not looking forward to just holding my lips and just, you know, because you know us, we're tight-lipped with our NDAs, but there's rumored to be some good stuff on deck.
That's the rumor.
That's what some people are teasing, so I'm there. If they want to show some cool shit, I'm there. I'm your guy. I'll be first in line and say, hey, sell me some. So, shit.
Sell me some. What are you there for, bro?
Your last one was Contractor Showdown. No, I did Silent Slayer, Vault of the Vampire. Who Shell Games is going to be at the home of XR booth. No, they aren't. They're going to be on the Gaming Showcase. That's right.
Yes.
The Gaming Showcase that has since come out.
Heard of them going to.
No, I don't think they are. They're at they've teased participation in the VR
which
Gaming
is fine,
Showcase.
Because we've been speculating what the hell that could be. So
well, unfortunately we can't we don't know, and it's gonna be out by the time this episode comes out. So how weird.
All right, so here's a cool one. I know you liked it. I like it. I still like it. I think you still like it, even though when we've played together, the beatings have been brutal. Expansion.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me Archery Pro.
No. No.
Those beatings have been brutal too.
That's just been, but we just started playing that.
Yeah.
Out of fairness, it's like, come on, man.
Expansion is so good. We need to go back into it because we don't know if there's been more content.
No, and what I did with Expansion when we first started playing it is on one of my days off, I spent a lot of quality time playing it single player. So I could start unlocking other vehicles and stuff. Oh yeah. So now it's like I've got the stacked gang.
The whole arsenal.
The whole arsenal. My mercenaries.
Yeah, what a good little unique App Lab game. I hope we see more of it. The graphics on it are really tight too.
Maybe it's really just a proof of concept for something bigger that they're working on.
It might be. Sometimes I feel like the studios will make a good little concept game just to prove to publishers and shit that, there's something.
They make their real bread and butter.
But sometimes those little proof of concept games are so freaking good. And I hope that's not the case with Expansion. Because I want it to be a full-fledged game. So my next one is actually going to be one that technically started on App Lab, but I'm including it because it was a demo. Just a quick demo that came out. So it's different. It's not like the whole game was out on App Lab and then it graduated. It's a little bit of a different case. I'll say Infinite Inside from Maze Theory. Absolutely unique puzzle game. Absolutely unique mixed reality experience. It's out now. Yeah.
So that counts.
Yeah, no. What I was saying, but it was out on App Lab before. But I was saying as a demo. Yeah. So it's like, to me, it's still a fully new release game. Yeah. It's still a release game. Like not a App Lab graduate, because it was just a little cute demo that was out.
Yeah, but I think they did good back when we played it. 2 years ago?
Shit, I don't even know. A year ago, 2 years ago, who knows? It was
pretty damn good back then. So
yeah, they did a great job.
They were able to continue and freaking finished it.
And how about that? They gave everyone that played the demo, they gave it for free. So that's why.
Yeah, that's a little gangster, dude.
Yeah. So. I'll pass it to you. I'll try to talk less. I know I'm rambling, and you both have work tomorrow. So, unfortunately, we have fun. So I'll try to go faster.
All right, here's one. There's no surprise. I'm gonna say this one because my type of games, man. Lawnmower Sim.
Ooh, that's definitely one that's not on my list. Dude, was Power Wash Sim this year?
No,
I feel like that was last year. Yeah,
right at the end of the year.
Lawnmower Sim. That's a good one.
Yep.
Good job, man.
Yep.
And that was
I
one
started playing it again on flat screen too.
Really?
Isn't that weird? Don't know why, but I did.
Probably motivated by the VR version.
Taking out the fat loans for the big lawnmowers.
And now we have it. I was going to say one but it's technically on my upcoming games list later. I was going to give a shout out, so I'll wait until it comes up. Yeah, I'll wait till it comes up.
Fair enough.
Rightful turn, but Lawnmower Sim, good pick, man. Good job.
Yep.
Not enough of those sim games in VR. They just work so good for it.
Dude, there's so many that, there's so many no-brainers. But we'll see what happens because now we get companies that are going to make life easier for people to do that. So
I think you're on record saying if it has sim at the end of the name, it can probably be made for VR. Yeah.
Yeah. 1,000,000%.
So that's a good
Train
one.
sim, farm sim. Come on, dude.
I actually only have 2 more on my fully released list this year.
Okay.
And then from there it goes to honorable mentions and App Lab graduates. So my next one, Brata, Underdogs.
Yeah, that was going to be my next one.
From one Hamza. I'm surprised we made it, 40 minutes into the show without bringing up Underdogs. I think both of us were trying to save it for the other, just kind of like save it for the more towards the end of the list. Underdogs, when we talk games of the year, that's going to be on my list of nominees that I'm pushing, that I present to you when we're talking nominees at the end of the year. That has been one of my absolute favorite this year, and unfortunately came out the same month as Crumbling, but Crumbling came out first. So I remember Crumbling came out and I was like, oh, another roguelite. I can't believe I love this. I thought I was done with roguelites. It'll probably be the last roguelite for me for the year. And then 2 weeks later, another one in the genre comes out and I kind of liked it even more. And I was like, this is so messed up because I thought my roguelite of the year was locked in because Crumbling is so good. But Underdogs, they knocked it out of the park with gameplay, that locomotion that I usually hate, I love. The music that I usually hate, I love. The graphic style I usually hate, I love it in it. The voice acting's amazing. The combat in it, it's amazing. The replayability, it's really endless. The customization of your mech, yeah, they One Hamza, they did an amazing job with it. And Dave is fucking nuts too. Sorry to cut.
More amazing is the interview we had with him.
Yeah, that's funny that you were about to mention that too. Yeah. I only say fucking nuts because moving to a bad part of the city.
Not everybody has grenades going off at their back. Not that it happens every day, but how many times does a grenade have to go off at your back door or front door?
Moves to a part of the city where there's shit going down and starts training Muay Thai and stuff just to get into character. I've heard of method actors. I've never heard of a method game developer. So huge props to the One Hamza team for really creating a masterpiece, in my opinion, with Underdogs.
I'd call Spoon a method developer.
What, full immersion?
Yeah,
just fucking
like totally,
just forward momentum, unstoppable.
I got a funny Spoon story.
Let's hear it. Let's hear the Spoon minute of the day.
I've been living in Grimm, so for whatever reason, dude, I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna do nothing. I'm just gonna go for a stroll down the street. Like, honest to God, that's what I was doing. So I'm just walking down the street, and I'm like, the more the map size, it's fucking ginormous. So I'm like, the more I walk around this place, the more I'll get accustomed to landmarks and being like, yep, know where everything is. And I see a lump in the road. So I walk up and I'm like, no, is this Spoon? Because last time I saw Spoon, I didn't check to see who it was. I just started bashing Skull with the rock. So this time I checked and I'm like, oh shit, it's Spoon sleeping in the middle of the street. So I'm like, well, let me.
Typical Spoon behavior.
Yeah, just fall asleep. Boom. And then, so I see what he's got for inventory, and he's got a rock. So I'm like, oh, well, I'll give him some mushrooms and like a candy bar. And I think I gave him like a canned food. So I'm like, when he wakes up,
he'll have more than he left with.
He'll have some water and some food and some energy. Blah,
How
blah,
nice
blah,
of you. Surprised you didn't even leave him a tank.
Right. So I was like, so anyways, I feed Sleeping Spoon, and I'm walking, and there was a base that I had fucked with earlier. So I was like, I'm trying to find this base. And I come across this all metal base. And I'm like, oh shit, all sheet metal. And I'm like, well, that's not the base. So I happen to have a C4. So of course there's 2 doors on the guy's base. Put the C4 on there. Bing, boom, blow it off. And I'm like, huh. Went on the roof because I had a ladder, couldn't get in the base. So I'm like, I'll just go back to our base and I'll try to get some more C4 and I'll eventually get in and fucking kill who's ever in there. So I'm talking to Spoon tonight, and we're talking about my gameplay today. So I'm being all silly, and I'm like, well, I went in and blah, 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 and finish it off by fucking with 2 people's bases and blew the door off of one. And I ended my night by killing the bear, right? Which I did go back in after that. And he goes, well, first off, when I loaded in, I was dead. So there's that. And I'm like, oh, no, man, I swear to God, I didn't kill you this time.
I gave you even more.
I gave you treats. That's what I was like. I left you treats, man. And he goes, and the door, the base of the door that you blew off was mine. And I go, was it all sheet metal? And he's like, yeah, I went back to my base and my door was gone. I'm like, ah, damn, man, I'm so sorry, dude.
There's not enough people in the server. You guys are neighbors right now. You take that for granted. You fucking with somebody. It might be Spoon or Mr. Beanie in my experience.
Yeah, it could be anybody. Two really nice bases, though. So but if I had one more C4, I was in.
So you give me a lot of Grim updates, which I love. Most of it's like just progress updates. So I love getting these where I've gotten to see like, hey, I figured out stone. And then, hey, I figured this out.
Metal.
I skipped right to the best metal. And like I've really seen your development. You're like, now I'm making C4. Now I have this. Now I can make this. Now I can make. So I'm really seeing you progress, which is really cool. But most of it is again progression updates. And then you send me a really funny one today. I was like, wow, that was actually really funny. You tell me you see somebody kind of sticking out, or you see an object sticking out of a house.
Oh yeah, I felt terrible.
You just saw something kind of sticking out of a house, so you walked up and you hit it, or you shot it with
my axe. No, I hit it with my axe,
and it was somebody kind of glitching through their wall.
Yeah,
and you killed them.
Yeah,
killed a dead man. Killed a sleeping man.
Yeah, I feel bad. It was just a little piece of something sticking out, so I was like, "What the fuck is that?" So I was like, "I wonder if that's a weak point." Take out the axe. And I'm like, "Oh no!" I see the little 2-minute counter coming. And then I felt obligated to try to bust into the person's base because I'm like, well,
I already did this.
They had at minimum of dual coded locks on their doors, and I'm sure there was another waiting for you inside there. So they're probably like, and to make matters worse, I dropped my hammer through their window. So they're gonna come back, in their sleeping bag and see like a fucking hammer laying there. And how did they even die inside their house? Be like, this dude hacked every single code lock we had. That's going to be the only explanation that makes sense. When in reality, like a toe was sticking out or something.
And this psychopath came over with an axe murderer style, starts yakking.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's awesome. So I left off with underdogs. You want to take the next one? Now that was a good Grim minute.
Yeah. Gotta have a Grim moment. Dude, I spend hours in there when I can. So Masters of Light.
Ooh, that was on my honorable mentions list.
Yep. Wasn't that Coven?
Yep.
Yep. That was Coven. That was good.
And also one of our best interviews of the year, if you ask me too.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree.
Only because of unexpected things said in it when she just casually, like 10 minutes in, is like, and then I started training people in Afghanistan. So what? Training women.
Yeah.
In Afghanistan to fight. I was like, well, that was an unexpected story. Let's pause for a moment and let's spend a moment on that.
Yeah, I think we rewound.
Yeah,
we're going to go back for that.
No, you know what? Actually, I think I had read about it on her website or something like that the night before. So I think I threw some teasers in there trying to get her. Something like that. But anywho, great interview. Great game, too.
Good game.
When you talk hand tracking experiences, too, that's up there.
Oh, yeah. The visuals are nice.
Yeah, and the soundtrack.
Yeah.
How crazy is it that hand tracking can support punching these days? It couldn't support finger movement.
Slap fighting so much better.
It really is.
Or bare knuckle fighting. It'll make bare knuckle fighting wicked easy, right?
So that's a good one. Yeah. Masters of Light. I'm glad it's getting the credit from you. It was on my, I said, honorable mentions list as well. So the last one on my release games, then we'll go honorable mentions and app lab games from there. Zero Caliber 2. Great one.
My next one
of the year. Great one. And what a gangster way that we got access to it, where they're like, play it, talk about it, show footage, go crazy, and we've loved it since we went into it. I have heard a couple people say like it wasn't for them, which, is the case for any game, really. But there's also a constant that I've heard in those where it's like people playing it single player, whereas we've only played it co-op for the campaign. And I've absolutely loved it as a co-op campaign. I can't comment on how my experience was playing it single player because I haven't done that, but for co-op, I'm freaking all about it. One of my favorite releases this year.
Well, it's arcadey. So if you're going in looking for like realism, it's not. Mm-hmm. It's, so I enjoy it for what it is, not
what people want it to be.
Yeah, no. I mean, I agree. We've been doing co-op, so different worlds.
Yeah, for sure. And again, they've done a great job with it, though. I had a blast with this. So Zero Caliber 2, it's only improving as well, too. The devs have already made some updates, so huge props to them.
All right, so a good one that I own flat screen, and it came out on VR, and we spoke to the developer, but Arcade Paradise VR.
Yeah, a studio that loves to make your ass work. I talked about that last. Yep, you're going to be doing The Last Worker. You're going to be a warehouse worker.
What's cool, and he even set me straight on this one, is you don't have to do the laundry. You don't have to.
No, he said
just
you
like could. Momos like me will, because you can get a little benefit from it.
They're making me do the laundry.
Dude, I remember bitching in the flat screen version. I'm like, man, I got to do so much laundry. Like, no,
I remember looking at you when he said that in the interview. I was like,
yeah,
you don't?
Like, oh, game changer. I guess I never tried to not do laundry. I always excel to be the best I can, man. And,
that involves doing laundry,
Game did it say optional?
Lucky they didn't give you money for making the bed in VR. That would have been my whole experience,
Right? So,
too funny.
Arcade Paradise.
What a great one.
Yeah.
I'm glad you included that one. So, honorable mentions. How about this one? The Pirate Queen with Lucy Liu narration. I think that was not my favorite gameplay experience, but for narrative stories, one of my favorites, without a doubt. So it gets an honorable mention from me.
It had some performance issues a little, just with a couple of things, but nothing major. But the story was damn good.
It was more of an interactive story than a game, too. There were some puzzle elements. Yeah, it was just it was told really well. So for a narrative,
good job at schooling me.
For a narrative story game, I had a great time with it. It's nothing that's, rewriting the script on VR gameplay experiences. And
no, but they're also telling a story that's not been told 1,000 times over. It's like they're being original with it, and people behind it have actual passion for it. So no, I agree though. It was more of an interactive documentary
with some puzzles and stuff like that. So honorable mention for me for sure.
Okay, fair enough. I got an honorable mention to scare the shit out of you in Flock of the Low God.
Yeah, fuck you.
But come on,
great game.
Not your cup of tea, but it did its job, right?
Maybe your cruelest experience ever to me in VR, where you were like, "It's not that bad. What's coming?" And you knew what was coming, man.
1,000,000%, right at the shooting range.
Yeah. So there was a point where I freaked out that you were just talking me through, like, just get through here, man. At least make it to here. Like,
you get a couple minutes left. You'll be fine.
But it sucked that the time I finally went in was when I was home alone. I should have just, but it was
that's a tough bullet to take.
You get what I mean? Like playing VR
scary.
horror games home alone.
Made by a studio that knows how to make you scared. Yeah.
At night?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Why?
You shouldn't have done it.
I remember being in the party chat with you being like, I don't like to be scared like this, man. This isn't fun to me. I was like,
you're becoming argumentative.
And you were dying laughing. I was like, I don't need this. I think I started to be like, I like to laugh, bro. I like to feel good in my free time.
And I knew what was coming. That's what makes it even better.
And then I
totally know what's coming down the road.
Not for 5-10 minutes later, I was like, fuck you.
Yeah. Anyways,
good one though. Good honorable mention. For honorable mentions though, how about this one? Venture's Gauntlet. Unique little obstacle course in VR that is huge obstacle courses. I was expecting to blow through in like 5 minutes. Took I think like 30 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that to get through the whole course. So they did a great job with it.
And they keep making it better. We saw we heard their vision for the future.
Teased some co-op too.
Yeah.
So they have like the shadow runs with like the what do they call that? Asynchronous multiplayer, where it'll give you the shadow of a timed player. But nothing beats having the actual presence of another avatar in VR playing with you. It's a special thing that's not the same as flat screen. It's like social or multiplayer VR games are, that's where it's at for me.
All right. Mannequin.
Ooh, thank you for including one that's not on my list.
I got to play that one early, play test it with some very cool peeps.
including Jamie, who has since left Fast Travel and is now leading the VR game showcase, which at the time of this episode has already premiered. We don't know what's on it while we're talking.
So who's to say?
Hopefully he crushes it. I mean, he was the
I'm
showcase
pretty sure
guy.
they got this
under wraps.
Yeah.
You were even saying last week, like, your feeling is it's nothing but going to be an all-star team. So it'll be funny to see how this conversation ages by the time this episode actually drops.
Good point.
I got faith in Jamie. He was the showcase guy for Upload for a while. Then, he started working a little bit more of the industry side with studios. Now he's doing this. So I got faith. Definitely motivates me for the 2025 Ruff Talk VR showcase as well. First Friday in March 2025. Stay tuned. Mark your calendars. Scream it from the mountains. So another honorable mention, only because you've been kicking my ass in it. Archery Pro. Very early stages right now, but some of the best archery mechanics that I've ever played in VR.
I can't say anything bad because I'm just laying whoop ass.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're good at hitting the 10s on it. It's really
I love archery in general, so it makes sense that I'm going to love it in VR.
It's pretty much just shoot a target game. The single player mode takes you through a bunch of starred levels, meaning you can get 1 to 3 stars, and the targets get progressively harder. Then there's competitive multiplayer where it's like best of the 3 shots. And then they have their cool tournament mode, but it's not like you walk around and you're shooting enemies and conquering the castle and taking over the village. It's not like that at all.
Pure archery.
Yeah, like sport archery, but it's so much fun. I've never seen a VR archery game where it's not pretty. I think every VR archery game I've ever played is just pull the bow back and aim. This it really
there's always a little aim assist with most archery games.
This one, it's not just pull back though. It's like how you tilt your backhand, your pulling hand, like how you move it left, right, up, and down.
Yeah,
that I've never seen that mechanic in a VR. I'm just saying, man, if another game can pull that off, that could be huge for imagine Dungeons of Eternity with that type of archery mechanic. Insane. You'd be a fucking sharpshooter.
I like the crossbow.
Yeah. Anyway, but Archery Pro, the best is yet to come with it as well, too. It feels like it's in the early stages, despite being so fun and how much I'm enjoying it. So I can't wait to see what else comes with that game.
That's definitely the feel I get when I play it. Like there's still a lot more to come to it. This is just almost like beta in my head. No disrespect.
How's your list looking too? I got
I'm done.
Oh, you're all done?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. I'll go through the last of my honorable mention was Black Forge VR, which was a recently published game by Fast Travel Games. It's a Black Forge simulator with a cute little story, little job board. I had a blast with it. And then I will say I had, for my list of App Lab graduates, I can run through kind of fast so then we can get to our upcoming games and wrap this baby up so you can get some sleep. For my games that were on App Lab but actually officially came out on the now called Meta Horizon store, we have, obviously, I mentioned it right at the top of this baby, Ghosts of Tabor. It was on App Lab. Now it's on the official Quest store, and even better than ever. I mean, the latest Quest 3 enhancement and Eastwood DLC pack, unbelievable. A shoe-in for another Game of the Year award. They've really gamed that system since they were Game of the Year while still being on App Lab. Now, I mean, they're still eligible for it. They actually came out this year, right? We
said it last year when...
Yep, we were already saying it. They're winning.
So it's no surprise that,
they're winning it this year.
Definitely. Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Well, I didn't say
there's still 4 more months to go.
Yeah. I mean, an open world Star Wars game comes out that's cooperative where we can both be Jedi badasses.
And we don't know when Grimm and Silent North are coming out.
I know.
Maybe so let's say what if they did a December drop of Grimm or December drop of Silent North? Maybe it competes with Ghosts of Tabor.
Combat Waffle competing with itself for Game of the Year trophies is hilarious.
But the possibility exists depending on how good Silent North is, and from everything I've seen, it looks pretty damn good.
And then for App Lab graduates, besides Ghost of Tabor, the obvious, I also had Toy Monsters, a remarkable one. I loved that one great to see it hit the official store this year. I also had Sky Climb. That was from VR Monkey. Came out on the official store a couple months after we played it on App Lab. So really not after, but technically was on App Lab first. And then I also had VR Rider SBK.
I feel bad. I forgot that one. That's a great fucking game.
One of the best App Lab graduates of the year, in my opinion, and definitely going to be on our Game of the Year list in some, not Game of the Year, I'm sorry, our VR award show in some capacity. I mean, I can't.
Real easy, dude. If you have a VR racing category, they're a tough one to give them
pass.
the VR motorcycle racing category, and they still clean house.
Dude, they're so good. I mean, and they have licensed SBK riders, really cool developers as well too. But that's not relevant to how good the game actually is.
No, you can be the nicest developer in the world and
make the shittiest game ever too. Correct. Yeah. That doesn't make any difference. But it's just a nice little bonus fact that they're cool peeps. But I've yet to see a motorcycle game as good as theirs. Great visuals
in VR. No,
yeah. I mean, they crushed it. So
they had me sold when I heard the wind whizzing by when I was leaning deep.
dirt going on your face. I knew it was real when the first time I played. I ran straight into a wall and I was like, "Damn, this is like riding a real bike, isn't it?" And then I got my bearings from there. I saw your face when I said that one too. You're like, ah. And then another one, Blacktop Hoops. So glad to see them hit the official.
They're doing really well.
Remember we talked about that the other month? We were like, wow, look at their amount of reviews and stuff like that.
Dude, they never stopped.
So that's all of mine for App Lab graduates. You have a list of upcoming games you're hyped with. I think that there's an obvious one you can start it with.
Duh, Grim.
Mm-hmm.
No
that's
release
on mine
date.
As well.
No release date. We know it's coming end of year. Sooner or later.
Well, that's what's been teased, always subject to change in the world of gaming. You never know until that baby's out.
No, it's weird because I openly admit I play it.
It feels out to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, forgot what it's like to be on that other side for a little while. That's probably one of all the early access we've gotten, this is probably the one I've taken the most advantage of.
Agreed. Unless we count
and I'm still excited for it to come out.
Yeah. And knowing too, it's like, it's funny because we're like a kid giving away their favorite toys when it goes to the public. Cause like, it's not just ours anymore. We have this sandbox right now, this beautiful sandbox that's really just ours and really a couple other people. But then it goes to the world and we're really giving up that special thing that's there now. Yeah. But I don't care because I kind of want that Wild West though. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to experience it. So
yeah,
that was number one.
People to enjoy it, but yeah, Grim.
That was number one on my list that I put for upcoming games, which are technically in no order by ranking, but coincidentally that might be. That might be my number one most hyped upcoming game. But it is weird to say because of, like you said, how much we are playing it currently. I just want to see it out on the store. It's a totally different animal then. So I'll continue with that then. It seems only fitting for hyped upcoming games. Maybe we'll get to see it at the games showcase and maybe more at Gamescom too. But Silent North, upcoming PvP, PvE shooter game from Combat Waffle Studios.
Zombies, baby.
Zombies. Many zombies to die. They've described it as similar like to DayZ when we were first talking, the first time we ever heard of it, which my understanding of DayZ, I haven't played too much of it, is that you can work together or kill each other, I believe. So it's like PvPvE, like there's both player versus player and player versus.
I'd rather work with people on this one, to be honest with you.
I think that tends to what happened because I think it's one of those like start over situations if you die.
Unlike
so it's like
Grim or Ghost of Tabor, where
fuck you, I'm on my own. Yeah, dead on site. This one,
it's like, nah, man, we have a mutual reason to work together in Silent North.
It's funny that you say that.
I'm excited for it.
I think that's going to be exactly how the player bases gravitate to as well. Like Ghost of Tabor, Graham, they're just ruthless. Everybody's killing each other. And then Silent North, I think we're going to see like community. It's going to be funny. So that was my next upcoming one. You want to take the next one?
Yeah, man. Dig VR.
Ooh, you know that was on my list. I wanted to mention it earlier when we were talking about simulator games too. So, that's another great sim coming out soon.
But it's coming soon.
Yeah, I'm hyped for that one. And how about Ben from the studio? Dude, how many years at Rockstar? What was it, like 13? Insane.
There's a lot.
Insane. If I were spent that many years at Rockstar, I wouldn't even advertise it. I'd be too scared of people blowing up my DMs of like GTA 6, GTA VR. Like, I wouldn't even advertise it. That's how prestigious Rockstar is. You say you worked at Rockstar and you see people's eyes light up. So that's a good one. And then this is one that I've been excited for what feels like forever now. I know one day it'll come out. Laser Dance from Thomas Van Bowel, the developer of Cubism. Pretty much as soon as mixed reality started becoming a thing in the black and white Quest 2 days, he was already teasing Laser Dance, where it's a game that puts lasers beaming from wall to wall, and you got to duck and dodge and avoid all the lasers like an old spy movie to make it across your room map and then touch the button on the other wall. And again, I've heard of this concept in the works for so long. I'm always like, where is it? But I feel like what keeps delaying it or makes it take longer is how much mixed reality and room mapping and stuff has evolved and changed since this came out. It's like every time there's an update, he's probably like, fuck, back to the drawing board. Time to see what's different these days. But great concept. I can't wait for Laser Dance from Thomas Van Bowel to come out. Hopefully this year. Disclaimer that any one of these games on this list too could be 2025. We don't know how the gaming industry sometimes goes.
Correct. All right. Maestro.
Ooh, that was on my list too.
Fucking years for
it. Yeah.
Years, man. Like, frustratingly. It's like, you got a good game. Give it up.
Give it to us.
No, but the rumor is it's coming. So
yeah, I'm hyped for that one.
Anxiously await that one.
Under the label of Creature from Doug North Cook and obviously other people, but Doug North Cook's who we talked to from the studio as well too. But Maestro, they're the first recipient of funds from the Creature and SideQuest $1 million indie fund. So I'm real excited to see what the finished product looks like, because that little demo that came out what feels like forever ago was so good. So I'm excited for that one. Good call on that one. I'll go next. It's one that people that listen to the podcast have heard me rant about a bunch. Wanderer, the Fragments of Fate. I'm so excited for this one. Been delayed a couple times, but hopefully for all good reasons, because I'd rather a polished, proper game come out than something with bugs just to meet a deadline. So I'm glad to wait longer, but I'm so excited for this one. So Wanderer, Fragments of Fate, that's definitely my next most upcoming game.
I'd be remiss not to say Batman.
Yeah, that's actually next on my list too.
Okay. Well, there's a couple that are just like, give me.
It's so obvious, yeah.
Yeah. I'm only saying it just because if I didn't, someone would shame me.
Yeah.
But I think everybody in the whole world's on the same page on that one. So
yeah, that one I think is going to be a real hit. And that's one of those, they drop a Quest S and they bundle Batman with the Quest S and the Quest 3 for 6 months, 7 months. That shit's going to sell. Custom Batman skin Quest 3.
No, that's how you really sell it.
Let's go.
Because you'd have current Quest 3 owners that wouldn't be able to help themselves because of the franchise that they're in love with. So
yep. You already know it.
Some of those. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, so much potential for them to really clean house. And we don't know what the price point of this Quest S is going to be, either this Quest 3S. So if it's cheap and they bundle with Batman, a lot of people are going to be playing with that one. Another one I got to say, I've actually been playing it, been loving it. Underworld Overseer. It's funny to include ones that we are actively playing and allowed to talk about. So I'm loving Underworld Overseer.
Yeah, man, I play it, just not as much as I've been playing Grim.
Grim's really put a dent in everything.
Ahead of me, huh?
Grim's really put a dent in everything playing wise.
Yeah,
it's just so fun.
Ruined me.
It's so fun. But we knew this was going to happen.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The minute we started building McMansions, I'm like, all right, it's getting shit's getting fun now.
our mind's got so much shit going on right now too, with Gamescom and everything
it's
going
just a lot
on.
the
It's
plate,
like,
man.
yeah, it's kind of nice to just go into the same game and like really get deep in an endless sandbox like Grim. So another great one. Looks great. Alien Rogue Insurgent from Servios. I'm so excited for this one. Really not been much shown besides a little gameplay and protagonist info, but I'm hyped.
Yeah, I'm excited. I just want to get my hands on it.
Yeah, my dirty little hands.
My dirty paws.
Rogue Alien Insurgent, hyped.
I got nothing.
That's it.
That's it.
That's
Those
all
are
you're
the
looking
only
forward
ones
to this
I'm
year?
excited for before the end of the year. Yeah.
It's
It's
all
a
right.
lot.
We'll go through I'll just read off the last ones because we went long, and like I said, we both got work tomorrow. So the last ones on my list, I had Zombie Army VR, Escaping Wonderland, and Behemoth. So all those are the
Escaping
rest
Wonderland, definitely.
Yeah.
Just because I'm curious.
I'm hyped for that one. And then Behemoth, that looks great.
Yeah.
So good stuff. Zombie Army VR, another zombie co-op zombie shooter. Let's go. So the rare themed episode, but like I said, we had to make sure we got you something while we're gone away at Gamescom. I'm sure we'll be live streaming and posting on social media and posting in our Discord. So definitely keep an eye on all of those feeds, and then we'll be back with you to, I'm sure, plenty of experiences to talk about at Gamescom. I know Mateo is going to be there, and he soiled me my first year at PAX East. Kept handing me those beers.
That's on you, man.
I learned my lesson because of him.
And it's one way to do it.
He made me an expert in conventions. I said, oh, keep an eye on Mateo.
Don't drink 12.
Too funny. So I'm excited for Gamescom. That'll come quick. Hopefully, like I said, we'll have plenty of fun conversations to talk about. Hopefully we've landed like we were joking at the start of the episode. If not, this is going to be pretty ominous because it's going to be scheduled and like, you know, it's going up no matter what at that point. So, I mean, could be a very ominous episode. Hopefully not. So hopefully we'll see you all after Gamescom. Like I said, keep an eye on the social medias, everything like that, the social meteors. And then before we wrap this baby up, as always, huge shout out to our Patreon supporters on our on-air shout out tier. We have Asim, Amelia, Carson, Earth Witness, Aspire Mike, Jake, T Peasy, and them Crispy Shoes. Crispy and Shoes. Sorry, I had a little too much fun with that. That's why we usually don't do these at the end. Usually do them halfway. If you've been enjoying the show, subscribe, rate us 5 stars. Go check out the awesome Discord that we plug each and every week because it's the most badass community in VR, if you ask me. Go join the Patreon. Smash that like button on YouTube, subscribe, and we'll check you out next week. Ciao, ciao.